everybody. Welcome back to the Tipsy Ghosts. We're your tipsy hosts, Sarah, and Lindsey.
Hey, guys.
Hi.
So, before we get into our story, it is spooky season, y'all.
Woo!
Happy birthday to
Spooky
you.
season.
Happy birthday to you.
Spooky stuff.
Happy birthday to Lindsey and spooky season.
Oh, I didn't know who we were saying happy birthday to.
Happy birthday to you.
Okay. What is your favorite spooky season activity? Go.
Pumpkin patch. Ooh, does that count as... Ooh, that's
Yeah.
not spooky, but that's like more fall.
Like spooky season / fall.
But I love going to the haunted houses, but trying to find people to go with me is kind of hard.
Like the jump scare haunted houses?
I love
I
them.
would
hate
love
it.
to
No,
go.
Would you
absolutely
really?
not.
You would hate it?
I've been. I hate it.
Why?
Because I don't like the jump scare part. No.
Oh, now you have to go.
I haven't been since, so I will say I haven't been to like a haunted house, like jump scare part since college. It's been a while.
Have you been to the West Bottoms?
I went to the
That's so
Beast and the
fun.
Edge of Hell when I was in high school, which
Yeah.
are still,
It's been a while
Down there.
since then.
and then I went to one in Springfield when I was in college, and they had a giant snake in a box, and they blew
It's a
hot
snake
air.
in a box.
A snake in a box.
You see it, and I'm like thinking, okay, this snake can't hurt me. It's in a box. And then they do like a huge like snake hissing sound overhead,
Yeah.
and they blow hot air at your ankles, and I screamed so loud
For ice cream.
because snakes are my number one fear, and they got me.
Oh,
Like
no.
people wielding a
Snakes
chainsaw.
are?
Yes,
Noted.
people wielding a chainsaw, like that's not going to scare me because I know they're an actor, and it doesn't scare me.
Until they're not and you're cut in half.
That's just it. They walk amongst us.
Leatherface, is that you?
That's what they
We'll never
want you
know.
to think.
Mhm.
But that snake
a
at that
perfect
haunted
scenario.
house, they got me good, and I have not gone back to a haunted house since.
Have you ever seen baby snakes, though?
Boydston, I cannot even see a snake on TV without having a nightmare and freaking out.
I don't think I knew this about you.
No, they are my number one fear.
You feel like snakes, how I feel about bats.
I cannot even see one on TV, on the internet, nothing. Nope. Can't touch one, can't see one, nothing.
Yes. Now we know what your
Okay, so this is a
you're
fun
familiar.
fact.
That's what I was trying to say. That's your familiar.
What
now,
is
a
you
snake.
guys' biggest fear then? Because snakes are my biggest fear.
Okay.
biggest ever?
I've been asked 2 questions. I need to know which one to
I know.
answer.
All right, what is your
Spooky
favorite
season stuff.
spooky season activity? Sorry.
Sitting in the dark.
What? Just by yourself?
I mean, sometimes, or watching movies.
You're
Okay,
telling me you
so
come down
watching
to the
scary
bottom of these
movies.
stairs and like sit in a chair by yourself in the dark for no reason?
Sometimes, yeah, I've got a recliner and it rocks.
Do you watch scary
You rock
movies?
in the dark by yourself?
Yeah.
What is
No.
wrong with you? We are concerned about your mental health.
No phone on, no nothing?
I mean, sometimes it's nice and quiet.
What in the fuck? I swear to God, if I walked down here and you were just rocking,
My heating pad's down here.
It's like something from a horror movie. We come
Thank
downstairs
you.
and you are rocking in the dark and you just go,
there's no glow from the phone.
guys.
She's just like,
I've got a trigger point. I'm just heating my muscle.
But most people would be like watching TV or like on their phone. You're just down here chilling.
rocking in the dark. She
Yeah.
rocks the
You
dark.
are Annabelle.
And thank you.
That's a compliment.
My favorite spooky season activity, since nobody asked me, watching scary movies while eating all the pumpkin stuff.
Okay, but what's your favorite scary movie?
Ooh, I don't know if I have a favorite. I love all the horror movies, like all the classics. I love
I feel
them.
like you have to watch Harry Potter in the beginning of spooky season. It's just like initiation
You
to
do.
spooky season.
You
It's
also have
happening.
to watch it during Christmas season.
Oh, okay, yeah. Just keeps going
I
on
mean,
repeat.
Harry Potter is great for every
It
season
really
of life.
is.
And Valentine's season.
Mhm,
Oh,
yes.
It's a love story.
I watch all the classics during spooky season. Even like horror movies that I've seen before. I watch them all again.
I know you don't like the Saw.
I do like Saw.
Not the Saw, but Saw.
I like Saw like the original. I just got tired of how many there were. There were so many.
You had mentioned that it kind of makes you feel icky though. Do you like gory movies?
I can do gory. Saw 3 is the one that made me like too.
There's probably a scene, I'm sure, that you
It was too much ick. And I know exactly what scene it was. But
yeah.
I saw it in the theaters when I was in high school and it was too much. So watching scary movies and
Yeah.
also eating all things pumpkin. That is my favorite
Ooh.
spooky season.
I love that.
Okay. What is the thing you're most scared of?
Ever.
This
Not
has to do with
like
spooky
animal
season.
or
Like anything in life, yeah. Like something tangible. Like, let's not get too existential here.
That's what I mean. Like, the ocean freaks me out. I don't want to sink underwater.
Sharks.
Sharks. Okay. Like to the point where you won't go in the water, or
No.
Just sharks.
no elaboration there. Just
I'll
no.
go there, but I don't want to think about them.
Like, will you go swim in the ocean?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, you probably won't go like deep sea fishing.
Oh, yeah, I do that.
Okay, so what about sharks scare you? Because like I won't
Their
even go
teeth.
into a reptile house.
What about like paranormal stuff? Is there something that's so scary in your mind?
No, she's been touched. She's had her hair pulled. I feel like Boydston is not scared by anything paranormal. What scares you the most?
Bats.
Bats.
Yeah.
I hate bats.
Okay.
Mhm.
You guys want to hear about a scary place?
Oh, yeah.
So this is called one of the most dangerous and haunted roads in the world.
Haunted road.
Take me home.
To the place.
I
Where
belong.
We'll end it there.
We're going to England, not West Virginia, though.
Oh.
Okay.
This is the name of a road in South Yorkshire, England, and it is called Stocksbridge Bypass.
Yorkshire, England.
I knew you were going to
That's
make
how
fun
they
of how
say
I
that.
say it. I know they don't say it like that. They say Yorkshire, but
Yorkshire, England.
we just took a shot, and I'm going to say Yorkshire. It's Yorkshire. I know. All right. So Stocksbridge Bypass is located to the north of Sheffield in the northern part of the country, and it is about 9.97 kilometers long, 6.2 miles.
Thank you.
And it opened in May of 1988. So the bypass was built as a way to reduce traffic congestion in Sheffield, and it would cut through farmland to link, this means nothing to us, but it links the M1 with the A629 Woodhead route.
That sounds important to them.
Yeah. That needed to be linked.
There was a lot of traffic in the city, so they were trying to create like a way to get around the city.
I was wondering,
To
it
cut
took
back on
me way
traffic.
too long to get to work over there. So I was hoping for a link up.
You just take the M1 to the A26.
It's
We
like,
should get on the way. A1. You take it to the one.
and then you get on the Stocksbridge Bypass.
You take it all the way up.
You take it 6.2 miles down. All right, so it would take traffic away from Manchester Road
In Yorkshire.
in Yorkshire.
Yorkshire.
The road cut through the center of Stocksbridge, and it was a major engineering project because they had to carve through rock as well as the farmland.
I mean, that's what we do for our roads.
I mean, how else do you build a road? You carve
I
through
know.
rocks, mountains, hills, whatever you got to do.
Doesn't seem
Maybe
so
they
special.
go over all the things normally in England.
So the road...
Englanders, help us out. What do you do with your roads?
What do you do with your roads? Are they just there?
Do you go over?
Or under?
Or through.
Yeah.
All right, it has been labeled as a black spot, quote unquote, and nicknamed Killer Road.
Oh, no.
More than 25 people have died on this bypass. It is a single lane road,
Well, that is treacherous.
That's where they get you.
and it is not lit.
Oh, gosh. They're just asking for trouble.
It is dim.
It has,
Dimly lit.
there's no street lights on it.
It is dark.
It is not dim. There is no light.
It's giving Ozark in the middle of the night.
Yes.
Okay.
And it has caused many deaths due to poor driving, speeding, and the overall design of the road.
Well, and they drive on the opposite side of the road, so that's confusing.
And they said
That's
they
where
have
they
like
get you.
a passing lane, or they just go over. So there's, of course, several head-on collisions with a dark, not lit road.
Sure.
So the first death occurred within months of opening the bypass, and many blamed it because it was constructed as a 2-lane highway. It was originally supposed to be a 4-lane highway, but then budget cuts and all that stuff.
Budget cuts lead to lane closures.
Well, like,
We're going to have to take it down. Fuck them people.
there
Just
wasn't
one.
enough money to make it into a 4-lane highway.
That's what I
Which-
mean. The people making the budget cuts, they're like, meh.
By the way, in England, they call it a carriageway.
That is precious.
Isn't that adorable?
Yep.
Still, those are tight turns with a carriage, I feel like.
I like carriageway versus highway.
The horses will fall over.
That's
They
what I
can't
thought
see
of.
each other.
Listen, England, we still think you're stuck in the 1800s. You're still using horse and buggies, right? Do you know what a car is?
It's a carriage road, so it's a horse and
It's
carriage.
a carriageway.
It was only for fancies.
Okay.
Fancies.
All the fancies.
So I say 25 deaths, but there have been obviously way more accidents than that. Eventually, they installed safety cameras, which
How are cameras going to keep
Listen.
you safe?
This is actually
Sir,
very...
slow down.
This is very cool technology if you will listen to how I explain it, okay?
Okay.
All right, so they track the average speed of a vehicle. So there are 2 cameras installed.
Okay.
And it was a pretty rare thing to have at the time, but it has actually cut back on accidents and fatalities. So it's a digital speed camera system, and it's called Specs. And it calculates the average speed of a vehicle over the distance traveled between 2 cameras using their automatic number plate recognition technology. So after it was installed, the amount of speeding dropped from 45% to 4%, and only 1 person died.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's pretty cool. Pretty cool technology. So, I mean, listen, from 45% to 4%.
It's a little late. Notification. It'd be nice to know beforehand.
Right. But people knew these cameras were installed, so even that was a deterrent for them to not speed, because they were like, look, if I speed, I'm going to get caught.
Got it.
I get it. Also, there were no lights on this section of road, which is why it was originally called the Black Spot.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So let's get into some of the lore and the hauntedness behind this road, because this road is haunted.
You don't say.
I do say. So during construction, 2 security guards were on the site overnight, and their names were David Goldthorpe and Stephen Brooks. And they reported one night that they saw a group of children playing on the site, holding hands and dancing and singing
What?
in the middle of the night.
That is weird.
And
And creepy.
This was on one of the roads near it, which was called P. Royd Lane.
Because this is before the road existed.
Right. This was in 1987 when they were building the road. And so they were security to make sure like nobody's stealing all this fancy equipment they have to build the road. So they like just are on site overnight.
Maybe there were kids that lived nearby and died.
But this area
Nearby.
was banned from public access. Nobody should be on this road or this stretch of area during construction.
Okay.
So, of course, they go to investigate. They're like, what are these kids doing here? And when they arrived close enough to the kids, the children just disappeared into thin air. They got out of their car. They investigated. There was no footprints in the mud, nothing like that. So there was no trace of them found. So they were freaked out. And so they got back in their cars. They started driving, and they saw on the bridge near P. Royd Lane a hooded figure dressed like a monk.
Oh.
So they
Interesting.
shine their lights on this guy.
It's a headless horseman.
With a hood.
Trying to figure out who he
What would
is.
that look like? If it can't go over your head. It's flat.
The lights seemed to pass through him, and when they moved closer, they noticed that he had no head. Thank you for ruining my story.
I ruin everything.
They noticed he had no head, and he disappeared as well into thin air.
His arms were cut off.
His legs were cut off.
His legs
His
were
head
there.
was cut off.
His
Oh,
legs
sorry.
were there.
All right, so back
Just
it up.
his head. Just his head.
Sorry that happened.
It's okay. He's
Sorry,
okay.
sir. He's not okay.
I don't think
but
he sounds okay.
He's not okay. And
he's
they're
fine
not okay.
now. Yeah.
The security guards are not okay. So they call their manager. It's 4:30 in the morning, and they're like, you need to come down here right away.
This
And
guy doesn't have a head.
We are freaking out, man.
Exactly. He comes down. He finds them like in shock. They're pale. They're shaking. He said one of them was crying.
Oh my.
And he described them both as tough men. Like they were rugby players. They were weightlifters. They had been security guards on night shift for years. Like not normal for them to be this freaked out and crying. So they go to the police station in the morning and they give their statement to the police. And the police jokingly were like, this sounds like more of a case for, go to the church, go see a priest.
Not our jurisdiction.
Yeah, they're like, I mean, there's nothing legal
Yeah.
here. Go see a priest. And so, like, jokingly. So these 2 security guards took them seriously and actually went to a local church and talked to a priest there. And the priest ended up calling the police and was like, listen, these guys will not leave my church. They're so freaked out. You need to investigate this. So the police did. So we are going to the policemen Dick Ellis and Constable John Beet.
Dick and Beet.
It's Team Dick Beet.
Team Beet Dick.
Oh, you guys are terrible.
And it's true.
It is true.
How did you not notice that?
I didn't, because beet is spelled like the vegetable beet.
Oh.
Oh,
Even
that's
weirder.
even worse.
So
You old Beet Dick.
Dick Beet ghosts. A few nights later, these 2 police officers go to the scene and they're like, look, we're just going to hang out for a little bit, see if there's anything going on, if someone's playing a prank on these security guards. So they are sitting in their patrol car, and they are... Sorry.
Their what?
Patrol car.
The petrol car.
So they are sitting in their patrol car, and they are... It's so funny I said that right.
It didn't feel right. It didn't feel...
What did I say wrong? They are sitting in their patrol car.
That sounds right.
Okay, what did I say?
Patrol car.
Petrol car.
Maybe it's just my inflection.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not mispronouncing. Okay. So they're sitting in their car on P. Royd Bridge.
What kind of car?
It's a patrol car. You butthead. It's a patrol car.
It's a petrol car.
So they're sitting in their car on P. Royd Bridge, which is near the site where the children were spotted. And they saw a strange shadow on some construction equipment that was left there. And they were like, that's weird. So one of them gets out, and he was like, okay, I'm going to go investigate. And they were able to debunk it. They said it was some kind of, I forget what, but something that was hanging down had brushed against it. It was creating a shadow. So he comes back and gets in the car. And this is all quoted, so I'm going to say quote. And this is their testimony of what happened. It was a nice night, and I put my window down. Suddenly, I had a peculiar feeling, not like I'd ever had before, because we have been working nights for a long time, just as if someone had walked over my grave, because I just froze. So then he said, quote, what was so odd was I went cold without knowing what was the matter. Then a few seconds after, I had another feeling that someone was standing at the side of me, and I turned my head slowly and could see that there was something stood by the side of the car. But as I turned quickly around, there was nothing there. And at that very moment, John, Beet, as you guys know him, let out such a scream and hit me with his arm, and I looked around and could see there was somebody stood there next to the car. End quote. So what's happening is he looked out his side of the window, and he described it as a torso, like from the neck just to the waist. That's all he could see, which if you think about someone standing like right up next to the car window, that's probably all you would see is like the torso.
Oh.
And so when he looked and saw it,
you might
it's a very tall person.
You might. When he looked and saw it, that's when his partner hit his arm, and he looked over, and the same torso was like at his friend's side of the window. So it moved like instantly.
Ooh, creepy.
So Beet said, quote, it virtually went from my side of the car to Dick's side in an instant. As Dick was looking out of his window, guys, this is his name.
From Dick to Beet.
As Dick was looking out of his window, I was just gazing up onto the bank, and I just turned to Dick and shouted, and there was this chap just stood there next to the car. It was really weird. To me, from what I saw of him, it sort of connected to the 1820s, that sort of era. I just looked at its face, which I presumed was that of a man, and it was just literally staring at me. I only saw the face for a split second. It looked as if he had some kind of cravat on and a waistcoat. It looked like something out of Dickens' time, but as I looked around and tried to focus, it was gone. So they see this figure, it's like very quickly, and they tried to drive away because they're freaked out, but the car would not start.
Oh no.
Oh no.
That's not great.
Eventually, after a few times it did start, but it sounded as if their car was being beat from the outside. They described it like someone took a baseball bat and was banging the trunk of the car from the outside of the car.
Wow.
So they drive away a little bit, and then they get out to inspect the car, and there was no damage to the car. There was no sign of anybody around. So, of course, they leave. They're shaken up. They write about it in their official police report, and it gets to the media and to the news. In the police report, it is described, quote, as an inexplicable phenomena. One of the few times that police talked about paranormal experience in their police reports.
Wow.
So the two security guards, the original security guards, they refused to go back to that site ever, like even in the daylight, and they left their jobs shortly after this. Their manager, who found them at 4:30 in the morning distraught, said, quote, policemen and security guards are very unimaginative people. So when something like this happens, it makes you scratch your head.
They're saying, we believe them no matter what.
Right.
Yeah.
So the news ran the story on the front page on September 21st of 1987 with the title, quote, Ghost Sightings on New Road. Michael Aspel's Strange But True documentary was the first time that the story was told on a national level on TV in 1994. The episode interviewed the police officers, but also interviews 2 runners who reported seeing a man walking along the road at the same time. They smelled a dusty, rotten smell like an antique shop.
Sarah's favorite smell.
That's what I was just
I
thinking.
hate that smell so much.
I thought that was so specific, and I thought of you
It
instantly. When they looked again, because they saw something on the corner of the eye, when they looked, the man that they saw was not walking on the road, but looked like he was a foot below it. So they said they could see from his knees up.
Oh, that's creepy.
Another couple reported seeing a man without a face hovering above the road in broad daylight before he disappeared into their car.
Oh, no. Into the car?
Into the car.
Ugh.
The children that have been reported to be seen are normally dancing and singing by the side of the road, joining hands in a circle, like Ring Around the Rosie style. That's what they're doing. They're swaying and
Okay.
holding hands.
Sure.
Creepy.
I hate it.
Yeah.
So do you guys want to know when the road actually opened?
Yes, please.
1990.
May 13th, 1988.
Oh, I was close.
It was a Friday the 13th.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
People driving on this road, even to this day, report feeling a presence in their car while traveling down the road, and just a general feeling of unease. Another story comes from a Sheffield psychic, Lucinda June. So she heard all these stories and was like, look, I'm a psychic. I'm going to go drive down this road and see what I can find out.
Very slowly.
Very slowly. So she drove it at night. And she said that she became very cold. Her car became very cold. And at one point she smelled, quote, musty books.
That's
Morning.
one of my favorite smells.
Okay. Are musty books different than musty antique shop?
They're pretty similar.
I hate that smell.
I love that smell.
I like new books, but not musty books.
I like both.
Ugh.
That's what she smelled in her car all of a sudden.
God, that is awful.
She also reported that a darkness, like a dark figure, appeared to her left, and she instantly felt frightened and terrified. She reports, quote, I did pick up the spirit of a monk that had been there 500 years previously.
Well, he smells old.
He's 500
He
years
smells
old.
musty.
He's a musty monk.
It makes
He's a
sense.
slithering snake.
It checks out.
It's a musty monk. Okay. Another story is of tiny figures dancing in the moonlight, which is associated with some fairy lore in the British Isles.
Oh, yeah. The fairies are tiny.
I have to report this even though I'm rolling my eyes at the fairies here. So hills and pathways and special trees are treated with respect there and are not to be disturbed, to the point that some roads are even built or rerouted to avoid any hills. And the lore that is, you know, if you build upon their pathways, you're going to be cursed or jinxed or whatever. So is it possible that the building of this road, which cut into rock into all of these hills and farmland, disturbed a fairy path?
Yes. Yes, it did.
I think so. The
Okay.
fae.
The fae are mad. They're pissed.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of that comes into play because people report seeing children dancing and singing, and they think that that might be fairies. So finding the truth behind these hauntings has been difficult. There are stories of a monk that has been forced out from an abbey and buried in unhallowed ground, but there isn't any records of any monasteries or abbeys that are close to this area. As for the dancing children, people believe they might be part of the fae, but also that they are victims of a mining accident, but there's no record of that happening close to this area either. Some believe that the construction that was built disturbed a graveyard, and these are the spirits that are upset. But people do all agree that something unexplained is happening on this road. What it is and why is unclear. But more than 18,000 vehicles travel on this road daily, and stories continue to pour in of haunted happenings on this road.
Ooh.
I will
wait.
say that 2 articles that I read that were very helpful were from Dr. David Clark, who wrote about Road Ghosts, a Haunted Highway, and Dan Hayes, The Most Haunted Road in Britain and Me.
You know, I don't think road ghosts get enough cred.
No, can you imagine driving, 6 miles? 6 miles down this
Yeah.
road that is unlit at night.
Well, just in general, I mean, like, think of all the people that have died in car accidents, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't get enough road cred.
What do you guys think about this haunted road?
I would love to go. There is another haunted road here in the States that's a little more easily accessible to us. So maybe we should go check that out.
Are you talking about Zombie Road?
Yes.
Yes, I want to see it. That's by St. Louis,
St.
right?
Louis, yeah. So when we go there to Limp, which is on our to-do list.
It kind of reminded me of Goatman's Bridge a little bit, just because there's
Yeah.
a lot of lore behind it. And
Gosh, it would be really hard to like even just go to that bridge, and you couldn't stop. You'd have to keep going.
right.
You're going to get hit. Otherwise, it sounds like.
Oh, yeah. We're going to Britain. Just
Thanks,
to
Brit.
drive
Thanks,
down a
Brit,
road.
is what I was going to say. Thanks, Brittany.
Brit. Thanks, Brittany. We're going to drive down your road.
It's Brittany, bitch.
Petition to rename the road. Driving down. It's Brittany Bitch Road.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in this week to our Smorgasbord episode. You can always find us at thetipsyghost.com with our socials linked from there, or send us an email at thetipsyghost@gmail.com.
Please give us a 5-star rating and a great review anywhere you listen to podcasts. We really appreciate it, and it really does help.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. We will catch you next week.
Okay, bye.
Bye.